Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is our monthly market update here, and I want to focus on specifically the things that matter for you in regards to making a decision whether to buy or to sell real estate right now in the early parts of 2025. So currently, prices are still at all-time highs. They have come down a little bit. They have come down a little bit, but and they're heading in that direction. They're definitely heading downward as opposed to upward, which we've been experiencing over the past several years. And I'll show you exactly why that is. So when you're making a decision in regards to buying or selling and trying to predict which way the market is going to go, it's hard to look past 90 days, right? Because things can change. But most of the time, you can say with fairly accurate assessments that over the next 90 days, based on the information we're seeing, prices are going to go down, right, or up, depending on what you're looking at. And the way you look at that is you look at the amount of inventory that is on the market, if that's increasing or decreasing, and then you also look at the amount of time on market, how long it takes to sell those homes, and then you look at the price cut percentages, and that gives you a real good idea of which way the market's going and what will happen over the course of at least the next 90 days. Now, 90 days is pretty tight. Most of the time, this data is a lag effect, so this you can say that 90 days is safe, but mostly in this area, you can say that that's going to continue on moving forward for at least 6 months to a year. But anyways, so what we're looking at here is inventory growth year over year. Now, these numbers are massive amounts. Okay, so you see in these counties, Pinellas County, you have an increase of 22% from January of last year. Hillsborough County, you're up 33%, Pasco 28%, and Hernando 28%. So overall, you're up about 30% on most of the counties in the greater Tampa Bay area. That means that buyers have buyers have options. When they walk in the market, there's a lot more for them to choose from than there was before. Okay, so that's the first thing is that you have to understand that there's more competition when you list your house for sale. If you're a buyer, there's going to be more options for you to choose from. Okay. Now the other thing we want to look at is price cut percentages. How many of the listings are cutting prices? Okay, and you can see that these numbers are very, very high. All right, these are 36% in Pinellas, 32% Hillsborough, 32% Pasco, and 32% Hernando. That means that in just the counties alone, that these are massive amounts of homes that are having price drops done. Okay, and that's part of the reason why the prices are going down, because if there's a lot of competition, then the only thing you can do as a homeowner to get your house sold is to drop the price and make it more attractive to buyers. That's the number one thing to do to get your house on the if it's on the market, to get it under contract. Now, what we can look at here is days on market growth year over year. So these are Pinellas County's up 2.7%, Hillsborough County's up 12.5%, Pasco County's up 17.3%, and Hernando County's up 8.2%. Now I want you to look at this, okay? Now it takes the lowest is 2.7%, but look at how many days it's taking to sell a house. In Pinellas County, it's taking 67 days on average to sell your house. All right, that's a little over 2 months. In Hillsborough County, it's taken 72 days. All right, Pasco County is taking 71 days, and Hernando County is taking 72 days. So that means that your house is going to be on the market on average between 2 to 3 months. So if you don't have any activity within that time frame, then chances are you have a problem with your price, and it's going to be very difficult to sell your house if you cross these thresholds. Okay? Now, on the flip side, if you're buying a house and you see that the house has been on the market more than 2 months, you know that you should be able to get a discount on that house, or you should be looking for them to do a price drop pretty quickly. That's what will be happening soon, right? And then what we want to look at is this stuff. Okay, so when you break this down from from a total perspective, we have increases in inventory, we have increases in time on market, and we have increases in price reductions. All of this means that we have downward pressure on the market, and you're going to see prices going down, which is what we'll look at right here. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here's year over year values. All right, so you see, Pinellas County, we're down 2.1%. Tampa, we're down about 1%. Pasco is down about 2%, and Hernando is pretty much break even. So these prices are going down, okay? They're going down year over year, and if you look at it month over month, you see that every single month they're going down right around 0.5% per month, okay? So over the course between January of 2025 and January of 2026, if things continue on this path, then you'll see 6% price drops next year when we look at this, okay? So if you're selling your house, 6% can be a lot. If you're selling a three or $400,000 house, which is about the average price, a 6% decline plus real estate commissions and all the stuff you pay can be a lot of money. So you got to think about that. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in dollar totals, it's a lot of money. All right, and then when you look at this, so what will happen in the future? So we look at this here. Right now, this is the interest rates that we're seeing, and this is the biggest problem with the market is that buyers are on the sidelines because of this. We have look at these interest rates. We have these are at 7.03% as of February 7th, which was 2 days ago. All right, that's too high. Buyers are not going to be interested until these interest rates get in the fives or under five, in the high fours, in the four or low fives. That's when the buyers will be interested. This is too much for them at the current prices that we have. It's not affordable. It doesn't make sense when they break down their payments per month versus versus what they can afford. It just doesn't versus locally what they're getting paid at their job. There's just no way this is affordable at the current rates and the current prices. It's just something has to give, and right now, what's giving is prices. They're coming down. All right, so this is the mortgage applications, and as you can see, we are up a little bit here. Okay, so this graph looks good. Like, oh, look at last year on September 20th, we were at 209, almost 300 points, and now we coming down off this graph. The low right here was real low at 168 points and right before Christmas, but now we're getting into a area where it looks like this graph is picking up. But overall, if you look at the 5 years ago, now look at this graph, it doesn't look too good, right? So the average is about 900, I think. Hang on, let me look at that again. Yeah, the average is somewhere around 800 or 900 points when the market is pretty fair and balanced overall. Somewhere around here, but I don't remember the exact average. But either way, this is not a lot of buyer activity. We need to at least get up to 500, and this is the past 5 years. So if you just put this in half, we need to get up to this level, 500, which would show that there is double the amount of buyers in the market. Because if we go from 250 to 500, there's twice as many buyers. So what will it take to get twice as many buyers in this market? Well, it's going to take interest rate reductions. And that doesn't seem to be happening quick enough, okay? So it does not seem that the Fed is going to be reducing interest rates down to where buyers will be interested, which means that this 7 needs to go down to 5. All right, does not seem to be happening at all. And they even said that they might not be reducing interest rates for the remainder of this year. So we don't know yet. We have to watch that. But until this gets down to 5, buyers are really not going to be in the market. We're going to be down here at this low level, at these very low levels. Which, if you look at it, this has been going on for a long time, back to early parts of or late parts of 2022, all the way through now. It's just that there's been the same amount of buyers in there, and these are just all these are. All this is buyers that have to buy. They have motivation to buy for whatever reason. This is not leisurely purchases. This is not second home purchases. These are just simply buyers that have a reason to buy and they're motivated. When you get up to the normal levels of 500 and you have twice as the extra buyers that come into the market whenever there's double the amount of buyers than there is right now, those are leisure buyers. Those are people moving to Florida. They're trying to buy a second home here, these sorts of things. And that is just not going on right now. And it's not going to go on until either prices or interest rates come down. So that's really what the race is. The race is, are interest rates going to beat these price reductions that we're seeing month over month? Or is it going to take them, think about it. If we're losing 0.5% per month on a house, on average, over the course of a year, and say it takes them 2 years to get this down to 7 from 7% to 5%, then we have a 12% on average reduction on every single house that's for sale right now. 12% down. So that's what the race is what's going to happen. Are prices going to come down quicker, or interest rates going to come down quicker, or are they just going to compete in unison, and at some point it becomes affordable and buyers step back in? But this is what we're going to be looking at over the next couple months. Every month we want to know this information so that you as a seller or as a buyer can see this information and make a decision. And finally, the one good thing that I see here is this is the overall stats from last year. They don't have January's out yet, but from last year, you see that there's the pending inventory here, 179, 181, and then you see new pending sales right here. So 171 to 161. Now this is not a lot. Don't get me wrong; these are really low figures, but the fact is that it's up a little bit. Okay, and then if you look at this overall, it just means that there's the same amount of buyers in the market that there has been for the past couple years. They're the same buyers, they're the same totals. They go up and down month over month, but they're the same buyers that are there. Now the problem here is this right here, inventory active listings. You see that these numbers are catastrophically different. You got 786 versus 1100. That's a 40% increase in December of last year in our area. This reflects the entire area. So these are just there's so much inventory coming on the market, and there's so many more houses for buyers to pick from, and there's so few buyers out there that you have to just be very careful. And you can see that the month supply of inventory is 5 months. So what this means is that if they said, okay, we're going to stop selling all houses in this entire area, Hernando, Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsborough, we're going to shut down all transactions until every single house is sold. They can tell you that it will take 5.5 months to sell every single house that's for sale in here, with regards to how many buyers are in the market right now, which is this figure. So they know that if the current buyers that are in the market now needed to come in and be pre-approved and those sorts of things, it would take almost 6 months to sell every single house in here, which that's a very long time. So those are not good numbers, okay? And it just shows that there's a lot of downward pressure on the market. So my advice, if you're selling your house, is you have to price it accurately. You cannot shoot for the stars. You have to understand that if you list your house today at $200,000, then based on this information, we're seeing month over month price declines. If you overprice your house and you say, oh, I'll just give it 3 or 4 months, you're going to lose money because the market's going down, okay? And most sellers, what they'll do is they'll say, well, I know it's worth $250,000, but let's list it at 275, and then I'll probably sell it for 250. And maybe at that moment it was worth 250, right? But 3 months from then, it's no longer worth 250. Now it's worth 235, and then you just dropped your price down to what you thought it was worth 3 months ago at 250. And then once you realize that, oh gosh, okay, I'm not getting any offers at 250, maybe a month or two goes by, and now it's not worth 235 anymore. It's worth 230. So you're losing money as a seller by overpricing your house because the market is going in the opposite direction. It's not trickling up to your price. It's actually going in the wrong way, and you're overpricing it, and the market's going down. So they call that catching a falling knife, in our industry. But anyways, it's very important that you price your house very accurately and even a little bit under market value to attract a buyer, make sure it's presented correctly and promoted correctly, and you'll get a buyer in there. But you got to find one of those buyers that have to buy, that are motivated, and get them in your house and get that house under contract. And if you're buying a house, when you walk around and you look at houses as a buyer, you're going to notice that most houses suck, and there's only a few that are really worth your time. But if that one that you think is nice has been on the market for more than 60 days, which is about the average time frame, it's definitely overpriced. You should definitely get a discount. In any case, this is a buyer's market now, so you should get a discount or try to get a discount on anything you make. And if you're a first-time home buyer, then you can ask for things like closing costs and stuff like that to get a decent deal. But anyways, this is the market update for the month. I know it's not the best news, but this is what's really going on in our area. It's not, you You got to disregard national news because nationwide this stuff doesn't look the same, and it's just this is Florida based, and it's not the same around the nation. So pay attention to what goes on here locally, and disregard what you're hearing nationally. You got to hyper focus on our area. Okay. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl tonight, and I'll talk to you later.